echoing or repeating things that have been said, if I may. I think Mr. McCarthy covered a lot of the history and providing actual facts. Here's kind of, this may get to Mr. Igneri's comment about confidence of what can be done, has been done, and what can be done in the future. At a variety of the meetings that have taken place, the public meetings, the project team, and I would say the project team consisting of our engineering staff plus DOT folks, got input on a number of things. So for example, initially, I'm not sure there was lighting or adequate lighting that was going to be done under the bridge. That was beefed up, and now there's decent lighting under the bridge and in both the stairwells. Initially, there were going to be asphalt curbs, and the Sixth Action District and residents said, look, we'd like to have granite curbs. So the project now includes granite curbs, and those are in the construction drawings that the contractor bid on. Improved sidewalks, those are in the construction drawings that the contractor bid on. Initially, the retaining walls were going to be concrete, and residents said we'd like to have natural stone walls. We're going to have natural stone walls. That's in the contract in the bidding document. So those things are already there. There are things that we mentioned with the review committee a week ago, or the Friday after the Public Works Committee about a week and a half ago. Things like bike lanes and shifting the lane widths and that kind of thing. We can do that. We'll have to do that with the DOT because the project was approved based on meeting certain standards with the DOT and the Federal Highway Administration, that kind of thing. But I think we can work with those. The landscaping is all going to be done by us out of our landscaping and tree management accounts. So we don't need DOT approval to do that. And we've already committed to adding additional landscaping to improve that aspect of the project.
So when folks throw out the term hit the pause button, is that possible?
I'm sorry?
Hit the pause button? What will be if we were to delay the project? If we were to try to work through some of the constituents who testified here today, some of their concerns to try to work it? Because apparently, I guess from what John is saying, that there's some good parts of this project, but there's also a lot of concern.
There's a lot of very good parts of the project. The lasting, the lingering concern that the DOT has and that we have are the safety aspects, the vertical clearance and the ability of certain vehicles to get underneath that bridge. And it's not just the vertical height under the bridge, it's the gradient of the roadway. Extended wheelbase vehicles have a difficulty getting under that bridge. So if the bridge is 11.5 feet and you have a vehicle that's 11.3 feet, if everything's flat underneath the bridge, that vehicle can probably get under there. It's going to go slow for a couple inches. The minute you start raising the hill up on the north side of that bridge, that takes away a lot of that clearance. So there are things like my vacuum trucks can't get under there, my bucket trucks can't get into there, a CLMP line truck can't get under there, a garbage truck that we would use for debris clearance after a hurricane or a storm can't get under there. Those are the kinds of things, and there's dozens of bridge strikes already, and the DOT is very concerned about that.
So if the project is not approved, what would happen?
Well,
not from the financial point of view, because I've heard that. From the just from with the residents sitting here tonight, is it possible that your office could work with them to address their concerns and rework some of the concerns into the project to get them to buy into it?
Well, I don't know about buy-in. I mean, it seems to me that there's some pretty staunch positions. We have tried as much as we can to work aspects into the project to satisfy some of the things that residents wanted to make sure happened, and things that actually are going to retain the nature of the neighborhood. For example, concrete walls would have been kind of ugly in that area because every wall you've got there is a natural stone wall. There's some that are plastered over with concrete and that kind of thing. Those are also going to be replaced with natural stone walls. There's one wall that's in the process of failing already. It's a private wall. The owner's going to have to deal with it if it's not repaired. So that was worked into the project. So what's going to happen is the vertical clearance for safe passage of vehicles is something that we can't back off on, and the DOT is not going to back off on because they're very concerned about the constant striking of that railroad bridge. So we can and will continue to work with residents on improving the aesthetics minimizing, as Mr. McCarthy said, we're not widening the road, that widening's already been done under the bridge, where with the exception of one small space just south of the bridge, the rest of the roadway is going to be narrow to make it a consistent 28 feet. So we can do traffic calming, we will do traffic calming, we'll do landscaping, we'll do everything we can, speed limit variations and so on to address those issues.
So if you approve, if the project is approved, will you continue to work with the residents and work with them to address their concerns?
Absolutely. In fact, in the meeting on last Thursday that the mayor called, we committed to work with the 6th taxing district on a sidewalk that's south of the project limits, can't be incorporated into this, but it's something that we've been concerned about for a long time, having a safe sidewalk. There are a lot of people that walk and bike to the railroad station from the south side, and there's really no safe way to do that, whether they come up Jacob Street, they come up Rowayton Avenue, or whatever. So we're going to look at trying to fit a sidewalk or a footpath from the end of the project limit, which is just south of Carolyn Court, down to Cudlip Street. And that's not part of the project, that'll be done as a city project.
And if the project is not approved, will you work with the residents to address their concerns as well?
On that sidewalk?
No, on the whole project, to address their concerns, because they're pretty vocal that from the comments, that they're not in favor of the project. They're almost boondoggle. I feel that, the city has an obligation, as well as the state, to work with the residents who live there. And the responsibility is not on the residents, the responsibility is on the city and the state to address their concerns. And one gentleman testified that he lives on the street, and he had no knowledge, except for an email that was sent to him about the project. And see, I don't know if I feel comfortable in voting for a project where a person who actually lives on the street has to get the information via email from another citizen. So it seems that the city has an obligation to reach out to the residents and make sure that all their concerns are addressed. And it doesn't seem from the comments here tonight that they have actually had an opportunity to weigh in and have their comments addressed. I think that we, as a city, we have to make sure that because they are the people who actually live in that neighborhood, that the city is actually reaching out to them and bringing them along in the project. And I don't want to point any fingers at you or your office or the state, but I honestly think that we have to change the way that we do business to make sure that when we have these projects, and there was another project that was done over in one of the business communities just outside of South Norwalk, heading towards Connecticut Avenue, where these projects pop up and the business owners had no idea that this project was going to interrupt the flow of their business. So I think that we might have to create some kind of policy change or something that's very basic to make sure that the staff from DPW and the state are actually out into the community and explaining what these projects are about, and make sure that the stakeholders are actually included into the project. And sometimes the constituents are very busy. They don't have time to get into all the details of each project. And I think that the city has an obligation to hold their hand of the citizen to make sure that their concerns are addressed. And I honestly feel that no matter what happens here tonight, that your office has an obligation to bring these residents along throughout the project, no matter if it's passed or not passed. We really have to make sure that we get the communication out. Do you agree or not?
I agree. We want to do everything possible to get the information out there. There was a lot of public meetings. There was a lot of outreach from our staff, a lot of outreach from the DOT, but I'm not arguing with you. Absolutely. We want to do everything possible. The other incident that you mentioned was Cedar Street, and we used neighborhood associations to try to help us get information out there. I know there were some people that didn't get the word. I understand that. I'm not arguing with you. Absolutely. We want to do everything we can so everybody in the project area understands what's taking place.
Right. and I thank you for your honesty, and that was Cedar Street, and there was some problems with that project, and it interrupted the business community over there. And the residents tonight are saying that they want to get more information. They want to work with the city. And from McNary's comments that he sees some of the good in the project, but I think that there's still some work to be done to address these residents' concerns. And so whatever happens here tonight, I think that before you even leave the building, you should definitely work with these residents, take their names, their numbers, and try to figure out if you can have them into your conference room and try to work out all the details and make sure that their comments and their concerns are addressed. And I know you'll do that because you're a good man.
Mr. Hempstead.
Thank you. Just to go back history,